Hello everyone, welcome to the CloudLearn AWS Zero to Hero series. This is a day 17 video. In this video, we are going to talk about replication rules in S3 service. The topic which we are going to cover is replication rules. Based on the name, easily you guys can guess what exactly this particular feature is. There is also a feature of S3 bucket. Okay, what is the meaning of a replication? What is the meaning of a replication? Exact copy, right? Exact copy to be maintained somewhere. So these replication rules, that's a kind of a rule which can be used to replicate the objects from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket. So here, from which bucket we are replicating, that is called as a source bucket, and to which S3 bucket we are replicating, that is called as a destination bucket. I will explain this replication rules in detail. First, let me write down few points about what is the replication rules, what is the use case, how it works, and all. Then I will explain with some pictures like how it happens, how it goes, and all. So, okay, first thing, the replication rules can be used to replicate the objects from one S3 bucket to another bucket. What does that mean? So here, assume that you are using a bucket to store all your data. So here, this is my S3 bucket, which is maintained in my organization, right? The users will upload the objects into this particular S3 bucket. With the help of a replication rules, what we can do is whatever the objects uploaded into this particular S3 bucket, I will say 1 and a 2, these objects will be automatically replicated to the second S3 bucket. What is the primary use case of this replication rules are to maintain a backup, to maintain a backup. So this is from and this is a to, right? From so if this particular user uploaded an object called abc.txt and here we have a replication rule, it will replicate that particular object into the destination bucket automatically. Let me make it more simple. So here, this is the S3 bucket, and I will call it as the name of the bucket is a source. Let us say source bucket. So in my organization, all my employees or the users will upload all the objects so that other users can download or view the data. So here the biggest challenge is if someone accidentally deleted the object from the source bucket, we will lose that particular data. If you don't have a backup, a separate backup, you can't recover all the data. In this case, we use a replication rules concept. The advantage of the replication rules are, let us say, this is the source bucket and this is the destination bucket. One is a source bucket and second one is a destination bucket. So what is my concept? Whatever the objects available in this particular source bucket must be replicated to the destination bucket so that I will have a copy of my data in a different S3 bucket, which cannot be accessed by all the employees. So that if any objects from the source bucket got deleted accidentally, I can recover from the destination bucket. So because we have a copy of the data. So how it works? So here I will create a replication rule. Here I will create a replication rule in which I will configure what is the source bucket and what is the destination bucket. This replication rule will take care of the objects to be replicated from source bucket to destination bucket. On what basis it works? It will continuously monitor the source bucket for new objects. For new objects means whenever an object is getting uploaded to the S3 bucket, In the backend, there is an action called put action. Upload is a put action in the backend. Download is a get action. So this replication rule will continuously monitor for put actions happening on the source bucket. Whenever there is a put action, means upload in our regular words. Whenever there is a new object uploaded, the put action will be happens. Immediately, this replication rule will read the object, let us say 1.txt, and that will be replicated to the destination bucket. That will be replicated to the destination bucket. And one most important thing is to configure the replication rule, the versioning must be enabled on both S3 buckets. Without enabling the versioning, you cannot create the replication rule. Okay, whenever you enable the replication, whenever you delete the object, whenever you delete the object, it will be marked with the delete marker, right? So you can configure in such a way that that delete marker can be replicated to the destination bucket. Means if you delete any object, that will be deleted with the help of a delete marker and you can replicate that. But whenever an object has been permanently deleted from the source bucket, it can't be deleted from the destination bucket with the help of the replication rule. If that happens, there is no concept of like a disaster recovery or a backup. If I delete from the source bucket and if it got deleted from the destination bucket, we don't have that object. So we can't recover that, right? So this replication rules, the primary use case is to maintain a backup so that if something happens, we can use that backup for a disaster recovery. And most important thing, versioning must be enabled on both the source and destination S3 buckets. Okay, let us write down what are the points we covered as of now. So what is the primary use case? The primary use case of the replication rules are to maintain a backup for disaster recovery. And versioning must be enabled on source and destination S3 buckets. And the important question, the source and destination buckets, we have two buckets, right? Is there any rule that both the buckets must be in the same region? No. The buckets can be in the same region or across two different regions also. That depends on your requirement. Based on your requirement, you can keep the source and destination buckets in the same region or across two different regions also. So how the replication rule works? The replication rule continuously monitor the source bucket for the new uploads. Whenever there is a new upload happens, there is a put action in the backend. There is an API call, put API call, and that new object will be automatically replicated to the destination bucket. And here the replication rule. What is the job of the replication rule? It is monitoring your source bucket, then it is reading the source bucket, and then it is writing the data into the destination bucket. Means the replication rule is a resource, bucket one, source bucket is a resource, and the destination bucket is another resource. So your replication rule require some set of permissions so that it can monitor your source bucket, it can read the data from the source bucket, and it can write the data into the destination bucket. And how the permissions can be provided to the resources so that the resource one, let us say replication rule is the resource one. It requires some permissions to read the replication resource to write into the resource 3. How we can do that? With the help of IAM roles. If you recollect in the IAM topic, I said IAM role we will discuss in the next coming sessions, right? This is what IAM role is. With the help of IAM role, we can we can provide some access permissions to one service so that the service one can read or can access the service two. That we will see while doing the practical. And most important thing, the replication rules only works for the new uploads, right? If there is any objects already existing in the source bucket before creating the replication rule, then the replication rule cannot replicate those objects into the new S3 buckets. For this, what we have to do is there is some one-time job called AWS batch job, and that AWS batch job can replicate all the existing objects from the source to destination bucket. That's a one-time job. And again, this batch job also requires permissions in the form of IAM role. And we have an option to replicate the delete marker to the destination bucket. If you don't want, you cannot enable. You can ignore that so that if any object got deleted, the delete marker can't be replicated to the destination bucket. Okay, so now what we have to do, we need to test all these statements practically. For that reason, what I'm going to do is I would like to create a replication rule. Let me write down the task. Create a replication rule to replicate the objects from source to destination bucket across two different regions. But while you're doing the practice, you can do in two different ways. One is within the same region, I mean source and destination in same region, or source in region one and the destination bucket is in a different region, so that you can do the practice two times, twice. Okay, so first create a bucket. I would like to name the bucket as a source. What's the today's date? 25th March 2025. This is the name of the bucket in Northern Virginia region. And then I will create another bucket, create a bucket, destination 25 March 2025 in a different region called Mumbai or Hyderabad, whatever, that doesn't matter. Now, what I do, I want to check the AWS batch job also. For that reason, before creating the replication rule, I will upload any five objects into the source S3 bucket so that the existing objects must be replicated using AWS batch job, because our replication rule can't replicate the existing objects. So now what we have to do, create replication rule on the source bucket. So that is a from with the below configuration. Okay, and forget forget one point. So while you're replicating, you can change the storage class on the destination bucket, because we are maintaining the copy, we are replicating all the objects of destination bucket as a backup, right? So there is no point of keeping all the data in the standard. To reduce the storage cost, I can store it into standard IA also, because that data can't be accessed regularly. So what I can do is storage class on destination bucket to be standard IA, and a delete marker must be replicated. Then create AWS batch job to replicate existing objects. And this is chargeable. because the AWS batch job will run only once. For running that one time, there is a one-time charge. Okay, right. Then let us do this. Then what we have to do, once everything is ready, upload an object into S3 bucket, or I can say into source bucket, and observe that the objects got replicated into the destination bucket. That is the actual concept, right? Let us observe that. Then delete any object from the source bucket and observe that the delete marker got replicated into the destination bucket. Then finally delete any object's version permanently from the source bucket and observe that the object still exists in the destination bucket, because if it got deleted there is no point of a backup. That's why it can't be deleted permanently from the destination bucket with the help of a replication rule. Okay, right, now let us check all these things. So for that, let me log into our Amazon account. So this is our Amazon account. Let me navigate to S3 bucket first. So what is the first one? Let us create a bucket in Northern Virginia region, and this is going to be the name of the S3 bucket. So here I can check I am in the Northern Virginia region. Click on create bucket, and I will keep all options as it is. And observe bucket versioning is disabled. But as per the theory, bucket versioning must be enabled on both buckets. But here I am not enabling because I want to show you without versioning, we can't create the replication rule. For that reason, I'm creating the buckets without versioning enabled. So source bucket got created, and then we need to create a destination bucket, and the destination bucket must be in Mumbai region, right? If I create here, the bucket will be created in the Northern Virginia. How to create in a different region? So here, change the region name to Mumbai or Hyderabad or something else, whatever you want, and then click on create bucket, enter the name of the bucket. So here you can check in which region the S3 bucket is getting created. So this is the name of the S3 bucket. Here also, I'm going to keep the bucket version disabled, which is a mandatory to enable. Done. So buckets are ready. Now, what is the next one? To verify that, sorry, existing objects can't be replicated, I will upload 5 objects to the source bucket before creating the replication rule. So here is the source bucket. Get into the source bucket. Let me click on upload, add files. Let me choose any 5. Okay. And then click on upload. So 5 objects got uploaded into the source bucket. So for now, there is no replication rule created. So no object will be replicated into the destination bucket. So if you want to check, you can go there and you can check in the destination bucket, there is no objects. Okay, now what is the next thing? We need to create a replication rule, right? On source bucket. Always from which bucket you would like to replicate, that is going to be the source bucket. So how to do that? First, you have to click on the source bucket, click on the source bucket. Then you need to go to management tab here. Lifecycle rules already we have seen in the previous video. Now the next one is the replication rules. Click on create replication rule. What is the error? Replication requires versioning to be enabled for the source bucket. So you can go back and you can enable versioning manually, or you can click here so that versioning will be enabled on the source bucket. But if you observe that particular error, there is no point of versioning must be enabled on the source bucket. Why? The reason is, as of now, we haven't mentioned which is going to be the destination bucket. Okay, so replication rule name, my replication rule, status enabled. I would like to apply this replication rule to all objects. Destination, choose a bucket in this account. If you want, you can choose a bucket in a different AWS account also. Bucket name, sorry, click on browse S3, select the destination bucket, choose path. The destination bucket has been selected. Immediately, it observed that the versioning is not enabled on the destination bucket. So click on enable versioning, means versioning is mandatory to create the replication rules. See here, IAM role, permission to access the specified resources. But we don't have any IAM role yet. So what I do is I will select create a new role. A new role will be automatically created by AWS with the required permissions. I will show you that. That is going to be created automatically. Encryption, I don't want to use the encryption at this stage. Destination storage class. If you would like to change the storage class of the objects in the destination S3 bucket, then select this checkbox. You can choose anything, standard IA. We will compare that. Now, additional replication options. Here we have a four options. Generally, all these out of these, first one and the second one are chargeable. They are not free type. So if you enable this one, let me explain. If you enable this one, what happens is 99.99% of the data will be replicated within 15 minutes of time. Within 15 minutes, the data will be replicated. Delete marker replication means if you delete any object, not the permanent deletion, in the source bucket, delete marker will be created, right? That delete marker will be replicated to the destination bucket. But the permanent deletion will never replicate to the destination bucket. If there is any metadata changes, like name of the bucket, sorry, name of the object, type of the object, there is a metadata. That also will be replicated if required. These are not mandatory. Click on save, and the replication rule is getting created, and this replication rule cannot replicate existing objects into the destination bucket. Now what happened here? You can replicate existing objects. Would you like to replicate the existing objects? If yes, you need to select this button and click on submit. That's it. Now the batch job creation, automatically run the job when it's ready. Completion report, if you want to maintain the report, you can generate a report. Where you would like to store, you can mention where you would like to store that particular report, completion report. Let me choose yeah, this bucket. In this bucket, the completion report will be stored, and this AWS job also requires some permissions. See here, if you click here, you can see this is the IAM role. What it will do, it will allow initiate replication, allow get object and get object version, and put object into the destination bucket. I mean, the report to be uploaded to this particular bucket, allow get replication from source bucket, right? So you can click on create new role and save. I did not write all this. This is automatically generated by AWS based on this particular job. Did I click on that? I don't know what happened. Okay, so this is the replication rule. You can check my replication rule, enable zero and all. Okay, let me go back. So this is source bucket, right? 5 objects in the standard storage class. Let me go to batch operations. Okay, it seems I clicked on cancel accidentally. Let me let me create that. If you want, you can create from here also. Just here, manifest object station, like all these things, like click on create, that happens. But accidentally I clicked on cancel. That's okay. We will check with the new objects and all. Or if you want me to create, I will show you one more time. Just give me a second. We delete the rule. I will create the same rule one more time because I accidentally clicked on cancel. The same thing, just I'm going quickly. Whatever I have explained already, the same of the creation of the replication rule. You can see there is a role created IAM role. But while you're doing it for the first time, just select what we call that create new IAM role. From the second time onwards, you can choose the existing role. Save, yes, replicate object, existing object, submit, completion report. Okay, this is the one. Choose path. Okay, create new role, and I clicked on cancel earlier accidentally. Clicked on save. I will show you the execution of this AWS batch job also. It will show you like how much percentage it has been executed. So what we should observe, the five objects must be replicated to the destination bucket. That's the first thing. And the second thing is in the destination bucket, all those five objects storage class should be standard IA. In the source bucket, I uploaded all into standard based on the replication rule configuration. Irrespective of the storage class in the source bucket, all the objects must be replicated into standard IA. Okay, so here let me refresh. What is the status? Prepare. It will take a few minutes of time to prepare and replicate. Once it is done, what we do, we will go to the destination bucket and we'll observe that all the five objects has been replicated to the destination bucket into standard IS storage class. Here it observed that there are five objects available in the source bucket. What is the percentage completion? Still 0%, not yet start. If you want to check, you can click on view details here. Total objects 5, active, time in active state 24 seconds. It will take a few minutes of time, like max 2 to 3 minutes of time. It won't take more than 2 to 3 minutes. Just wait for like a few minutes. Let this job complete. Then we can go to the destination bucket and we'll observe all the five objects got replicated into the destination bucket. In the meanwhile, here, if you want to take a look, just these are the IAM roles. You can click over there and you can read the role, what it contains, everything you can try to understand. But remember, I did not create that IAM role manually. That role was created automatically by AWS based on my requirement. Still, it is not yet completed. Status is active. After some time, it will go to running and then it will complete. You can see total succeed rate 0% and total failed is 0% because it's not yet started. During this replication, if any object is if it is unable to replicate, then it will provide that also the how many files got failed and all. You can see what is the status completing, what is the total succeed rate 100%, total failed 0%. Okay, now I will go to the destination bucket. And here you should observe the five objects present in standard IA storage class. Can you see? 5 objects. And what is the storage class? Standard IA. Right. Now, what is the next one we have to do? We need to upload an object into S3 bucket and and observe that those objects got replicated to the destination bucket. In this case also, the replicated objects storage class must be standard IA. Okay, now what I have to do, let me go to the source bucket. Click on upload. Let me add file. We choose that PDF document or something. Save file, upload. File is getting uploaded into source bucket. You can see source bucket is this one. I mean, to that particular bucket, I uploaded the object. Now, if I go to the destination bucket, so right now I'm in the destination bucket. You can check here. And how many objects are there? Just 5. Just wait because it will take a few minutes of time. It won't take hours, just few minutes. We enabled RTC, right? Means within 15 minutes of time, 99.99% of objects will be replicated. That is the advantage of the RTC. At the time of creating the replication rule, we have seen that option, the first option in the last block. So we uploaded day 5, right? The file name starts with day 5. You can observe here. After some time, you can come back here and you can observe. Okay. In the meanwhile, I would like to check the deletion of the object. I will go to the source bucket. I'm deleting the object, not permanent deletion, right? So without enabling the show versions, I selected day 8, click on delete, means I'm deleting an object name starts with day 8. Delete, delete object means. So what happened here on day 8, if you want to check, after deletion, if you click on show versions, you can see on day 8, there is a delete marker. So this delete marker will be replicated to the destination bucket. Let us verify. We have to verify two things. One is new object, which is a day 5, replicated to the destination bucket. And then delete marker on the day 8 must be replicated to the destination bucket. These are the two things which we have to observe. Can you see day 5 replicated? Can you see any object name starts with day 8? No, because it was updated with the delete marker. How to check? Click on the show versions. Can you see delete marker update? This is not a permanent deletion, but whenever you delete any object permanently from the source bucket, it can't be replicated to the destination bucket. How to verify? Go to the source bucket and how to delete any object permanently. Before deletion, you have to click on show versions. And if you delete any object, 1, 2, not day 5, day 7, day 9, and day 10. I selected 3 objects, click on delete, and it is asking me to type permanently delete for the confirmation, right? Means we are trying to delete an object permanently. This kind of permanent deletions can't be replicated to the destination bucket. If you want to check, you can check. Like click on buckets and then go to destination bucket. You can see all the objects like day 7, day 9, day 10, everything. If you want to check, you can wait for 15 minutes, you can wait for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes also, you can check. These objects will exist as it is because the replication rule cannot replicate the permanent delete actions. If it replicates, there is no concept of disaster recovery or a backup. Okay, right. So this is about the replication rules. I hope you understand the concept clearly. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me. I'm happy to explain. Thank you, everyone.